Hi, my name is Ava, also known as the Vampire Girl, and it's all because I had the meanest parents. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. I was born in a small town in Romania, and growing up, I realized that my parents were weirdos. For starters, they were always talking in whispers to each other, which was so annoying, and they never left the house. They wouldn't go out for work or even groceries. A box of supplies just mysteriously arrived every week. Every day, Dad would spend hours reading the newspaper and circling stuff on it with a red marker. Once when I was 4, I kept asking him to pour me cereal, but he kept ignoring me. So I leapt onto the table and put my foot in his bowl, spilling it all over his newspaper. And Dad went bonkers. Oh my God, do you realize what you've done? You're such a nuisance. Here, take the whole box. Just leave me alone, you idiot. Gosh, I wished I could just leave them forever. They didn't even love me. We never had any visitors, but when I was 5, Grandma came to see us once, and she brought me an adorable cat. I was so happy. But of course, my parents were not. A pet? We already have Ava. It's hard enough to take care of her. No, just take it back, please.
No freaking way!
I ran up to my room with the cat and slammed the door shut. But when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't anywhere in my room. I looked all over the house. Nothing. I just knew my parents had gotten rid of it. I screamed and cried, but they said they didn't know anything. Liars. Before they could stop me, I just ran out the front door. I was never going back. It was a really sunny day, and as I kept running, my skin suddenly started turning really red and itchy. I looked up at the scorching sun, and my whole body began to burn. Ah! I let out one huge scream and fainted. When I woke up, I was in my bed. Mom told me the doctor had been to see me, and he'd said I was perfectly fine.
No, that's not true. I'm not fine. The doctor is dumb. The sun almost killed me.
My parents said I was crazy, but I knew they were evil, and I wasn't gonna let them hurt me. So after that, I refused to let a single ray of sunlight touch my body, not even indoors. I covered myself from tip to toe, socks, Trek pants, hoodie, and a face mask. Only my eyes were visible. My parents almost fainted when they first saw me roaming around the house like a little ninja. The only time I removed my costume was when the sun was gone. I'd never go out during the day. I even insisted on being homeschooled. But by the time I was 13, my parents refused to homeschool me anymore. There's nothing wrong with you. Just go to school. It's been years since you last walked under the sun. It's because I'm allergic to the sun. You just want me to die? If you keep behaving this way, I swear I'll send you to your aunt's place in Norway. There's only sunlight there for 6 months. Gosh, they were unbelievable, and they thought I didn't know about their plan. Fine, but don't think I won't wear this costume to school. I will, and when people say you're weirdos for dressing me up like this, just know that you asked for it. I joined school in the 8th grade, and the minute I entered the classroom, everybody started laughing and whispering things like weirdo and freak. I ignored all of them and sat down quietly on the first empty seat. During lunch break, I stayed back in the classroom while everybody left, except for this one girl, Jessie.
Ava, right?
I'm just curious. Why are you dressed like a garbage bag? I'm allergic to the sun. It burns my skin. She started laughing and just left. Soon enough, I discovered she was the meanest girl around, and she'd pick on me every chance she got. Once she put a fart bag on my seat just as I was sitting down, and the farting sound had everyone howling with laughter. Another day, I solved a math problem on the board, and as I was returning to my seat, I slipped on some water and fell on the floor.
That's where your place is anyway, weirdo.
I ignored Jessie's stupid pranks, but one day, she went too far. I was standing under some shade and enjoying a baseball match when suddenly, Jessie came out of nowhere and dragged me into the sun. She started to pull my hoodie off, and I bit her hand really hard and ran away as she screamed.
You crazy freak! Are you a vampire?
And that's how I got my name, Vampire Girl. I could hear people calling me a monster, but I didn't care. At least the bullies were a little scared of me now. A few days later, the teacher introduced a new kid, Nick, to our class. His clothes were old and ragged, and I could see Jessie and her minions already laughing at him. They'd found their new target. I joined him in the cafeteria at lunch that day, and we started talking. I found out that he was the new janitor's son. He was really sweet and never even said I was crazy when I told him about my condition. I was so happy to have made a friend. But one day, as I was walking down the hallway, I found Jessie and her friend surrounding Nick. She spilled juice on the floor and said, "Oops, you can clean this up, Nick. I mean, you'll grow up to be a janitor like your dad, right? Come on, just sit down and wipe it with your butt. Hey, jerk, have you forgotten the last time I bit you? Stay away from Nick, or this time I'll do some serious damage." Jessie rolled her eyes at me, but when I leapt forward, she actually screamed and went running. Nick thanked me, and I always made sure to stick close to him after that. But then one day, Nick and I had just entered the classroom after recess when Jessie started screaming like crazy. "OMG! My brand new iPhone! It's gone! Someone stole it!" And then she pounced at Nick and grabbed him by his shirt. You must have done it, you beggar! You thief! Where is it? Hey, knock it off, you witch! You have no proof!" "Oh, I'll get the proof, girl." She snatched his bag and started throwing out all his things. I grabbed her hair and she turned around and attacked me. We got into a huge fight, and just then, the principal walked in. Jessie kept screaming that Nick had stolen her phone and it must be in his locker. Of course, the principal found nothing there, but Nick was left humiliated in front of everyone. He was silent the whole day, and I caught up with him after school. "Hey, Nick, are you okay? Jessie is just terrible. I hate rich people. They always look down at us as if we aren't human. She called me a thief just because I'm poor? God, I just hate everyone." And he just walked away. He didn't come to school the next day, and his dad was nowhere to be seen either. A week passed, and there was still no sign of them. I felt worried, but I didn't know where he lived. But then I remembered Nick talking about how his dad also worked at a restaurant in the evening. So I decided to go talk to him. As I was walking down the street one night without my mask or hoodie, I saw a masked guy running towards me, and suddenly he started snatching my bag. As I tried to get away, I lunged at his face and pulled his mask off, and I nearly fell back in shock. It was Nick! But before I could say anything, he ran away. I just stood there in disbelief. Jessie was right all this time? He was a thief? I felt betrayed. Nick showed up at school 2 days later, but I just ignored him. But when he kept following me and asking me what was wrong, I suddenly lost it. You want to know what's wrong? I'll tell you. The girl you robbed the other night on the street? That was me. He looked horrified. You? That was you? I didn't know. I've never seen your face. What does it matter who it was? What matters is that you're a liar and thief, and to think that I fought for you. Suddenly, he started weeping like a baby. I didn't want to steal, Ava, but I just had no choice. My dad's in the hospital. We needed the money. I'm so sorry. I swear, I didn't steal Jessie's phone. I've never stolen anything until that night. He kept crying, and my heart went out to him. I'm sorry about your dad, but stealing isn't the answer, Nick. You should have told me. I could have helped. Let me help you now, but promise me you'll never steal anything ever again. He promised, and I went to talk to the school principal. Together, we planned a fundraiser for Nick's dad, and within a day, we were able to raise all the money Nick needed for his dad's treatments and more. And the biggest donors were Jessie's parents. They kept praising me at the fundraiser for arranging the event, and this made Jessie even angrier. Don't let it get to your head, Ava. You're still a freak, and you could never be me. As if I want to be. What's so special about you anyway? Other than being super dumb. Excuse you? I've been prom queen for the last 2 years. You could never. Oh, is that so? We'll see this year. Seriously? It's the prom, not some freak show. You'll never win against me, loser. Nick whispered into my ear, says the girl who's never seen your face. I bought a beautiful red dress for prom. Since it was at night, it was the first time anyone in school would be seeing me without my mask and hoodie. As soon as I entered the hall, I saw people turning around and asking each other who I was. Just then, Nick came to me and took my arm. Ava, you look beautiful.
That's Ava, the vampire girl? I can't believe it was that face behind that mask all this time.
She's gorgeous. Jessie looked furious when she saw everyone's attention was on me. And to my shock, I was actually voted as that year's prom queen. As I was being crowned, suddenly Jessie came charging at me on the stage, trying to rip the crown off my head. But then something strange happened. The bullies who used to pick on me saved me. They all stopped Jessie and took her away. Don't lay a finger on our prom queen.
That was amazing.
Things at school started getting better. Everyone was super nice to me now. Nick was tutoring kids after school, and his dad came back to work soon. Nobody paid any attention to Jessie and her gang anymore, and all they could do was give me death glares. But one day after gym class, I was quickly changing in the dark locker room when suddenly Jessie and her minions barged in. One of them quickly grabbed my hoodie, while the others grabbed me by my hands and legs and started carrying me outside. Oh my God, no! They dragged me out into the sun and pinned me to the ground.
This is for stealing my limelight, you witch. Now, let's see what happens to you in the sun. I hope you melt and disappear.
Suddenly, someone pushed the girls away. It was a teacher, and Nick. While the teacher dragged the bullies off to the principal, Nick quickly took me inside as I cried like crazy. Hey, you're okay now. And your skin? It looks totally fine. It's not even red, Ava. Does it hurt or burn? I looked all over my arms and realized he was right. There were no rashes, and it didn't itch or burn at all. Was my condition gone for good? Or had it just been all in my head? When I went back home that day, my parents were shocked to see me. Ava, where's your hoodie and your mask? Mom, Dad, I was out in the sun, and nothing happened to me. Was I just crazy all this time? They hugged me tight and actually started to cry. Sweetheart, we tried to tell you it wasn't real. You just got a bad sunburn as a kid, and you let that fear get so big in your head. I just never believed you guys because, well, I always thought you hated me, and you wanted to be rid of me. You got rid of my cat. No, we didn't, honey. It just ran away, and we never hated you. When you were growing up, your mother and I were working as undercover government agents. It was a really stressful time for us, and I'm sorry we made you feel ignored. What? My parents were secret agents? That was the last thing I'd ever expected. But suddenly, their weird behavior made sense. I wish you'd told me sooner. All this time, I've been believing things that just weren't true. We're sorry, Ava. We should have been better parents to you. We love you so much. I love you too, guys.